Welcome students. Today we are going to study about the gynoecium of an angiospermic flower. As you know, the gynoecium is the female part of an angiospermic flower. Gynoecium, being the female part, represents the female organ of the flower and contains female gamete inside it. A single unit of gynoecium is called carpel or pistil. Gynoecium is the innermost and fourth hole of the flower. When we start from outside, the first part that we get is sepal, then we get petals, then the third hole, that is the male reproductive part, androecium, and at last the fourth and innermost hole of the flower is gynoecium. A single unit of gynoecium is called carpel or pistil. Now let's see the structure of the carpel. Each pistil or carpel has three parts. The upper, flattened and generally sticky part called stigma. It is the receptor part where pollen grains are attached. This is the part which receives pollen grains, and that's why it is a little sticky and flattened structure. This part is called stigma. After that, a long tubular structure called style. This middle elongated part called style makes a connection, a path between the stigma and the ovary. Through this style, inside this style, the pollen tube moves and grows towards the ovary. And the third part of pistil or carpel is the basal swollen part called ovary. The ovary contains ovule. The ovary is the basal swollen part of the gynoecium which contains ovule, and it is the structure of a typical carpel or pistil. The upper flattened part called stigma, the middle elongated tubular structure called style, and basal swollen part called ovary which contains ovule inside it. The carpel or pistil is present in the flower if it is present single. If a flower contains only one carpel, is gynoecium is made up of only one carpel, such flower is called monocarpellary. It means monocarpellary is a condition where the flower is having a single carpel only. Likewise, bicarpellary is a condition where two carpels are present, and multicarpellary is the condition of having more than two carpels. So, if the flower is having a single carpel, it is called monocarpellary. If it is having two carpels, it is called bicarpellary, and if it is having more than two carpels, it is called multicarpellary. In case of more than one carpel, that is in bicarpellary or multicarpellary, if the carpels are free, such gynoecium is called apocarpus. If there is single carpel, there is no case of being free of or fused, but in condition of bicarpellary or multicarpellary, if all the carpels are free, it means they can be seen individually, they can be identified individually, and they are distinct from each other, means they are free from each other. Such condition is called apocarpus. And the example of apocarpus ovary is lotus and rose. Here many carpels are present and each carpel is distinct from each other. If the carpels are fused together, means various carpels are present, but they all are fused. It appears as a single carpel. That condition is called condition of fused carpels, and the term is called syncarpes. So those carpels are called syncarpes, which are fused together. Example, tomato and mustard. So now we know about gynoecium that it has various units. Each single unit is called carpel or pistil. Each carpel is having upper flattened structure called stigma, a middle tubular structure called style, and a basal swollen structure called ovary. The ovary contains ovule inside it. If the gynoecium is having a single carpel, it is called monocarpellary. If it is having two carpel, it is called bicarpellary. And if it is having more than two carpels, it is called multicarpellary. If carpels are free, this condition is called apocarpus, which can be found in lotus and rose. If carpels are fused, this condition is called syncarpus, and this can be seen in tomato and mustard. The ovary can be unilocular, bilocular or multilocular on the basis of locules or chambers present in an ovary. In this condition, you can see the ovary is having one chamber only, and such ovary is called unilocular. If the ovary is having two chambers, means it is partitioned in two, it will be known as bilocular, and likewise multilocular. So these are some characteristics of gynoecium. Now let's study about placentation. Now we will study about placentation. The ovary of gynoecium bears ovule. A single ovary may bear a single or many ovules. These ovules remain attached to the ovary wall at a place called placenta. The place at which these are remain attached with the ovary wall is called placenta. The arrangement of ovule inside the ovary is called placentation. So how ovules are arranged on placenta, what is the position of placenta inside the ovary is called placentation. So it can be defined as the arrangement of ovules inside the ovary. And since ovules are arranged on placenta, so you can say the arrangement of placenta or the position of placenta inside the ovary is called placentation. The placentation is of 5 types. These 5 types of placentation are as follows. The very first placentation is called marginal. As the name suggests, here the position of placenta is at the margins. The ovary is unilocular, means having only a single chamber, and the placenta forms a ridge at the margin of the ovary. You can see a ridge is formed, and on this ridge these ovules are born. So this is placenta present at the margin of the ovary, and it bears ovules. These ovules may be in a single or in 2 rows. So such type of placentation where placenta forms a margin on the ovary wall, and on that margin ovules are born, such type of placentation is called marginal placentation. Example, as in pea. As you have seen the pea pod, if you will open the pea pod, you will find pea are arranged in such manner, and such type of placentation is called marginal. The second placentation is called axile. Here the ovary is multilocular. You can see various lobes are there. So ovary is multilocular, and the placenta is present at the center. So inside each lobule, inside each chamber, ovules are born from the center. The ovules are arising from the center. So it is exile placentation, where ovary is multilocular, having various chambers, and ovules are born at the center. These are arising from the center. Such placentation is called exile placentation. The example of exile placentation is China rose, tomato, and lemon. If you cut a lemon or tomato, you will find seeds arranged in the middle of the part. The third placentation is called parietal. Parietal placentation is found in mustard and cucumber. Here, the ovule develops on the inner wall of the ovary at the periphery. You can see the placenta is present on the inner wall of the ovary at the periphery. In exile, the ovules are born in the center, whereas in parietal, ovules are born on the periphery of the ovary. So such type of placentation is called parietal placentation, and example is mustard and cucumber. The next one is called free central. This is called free central placentation. In this placentation, placenta or ovule are present at the center, but partition wall is absent. You can see in exile also the ovules are present in the center, but it is partitioned in various chambers. But in free central condition, that partition wall is absent. Ovules are present at the center. This is the free central placentation. An example is primrose. The last type of placentation is called basal placentation. In this condition, the placenta is found at the base of the ovary with one ovule. So at the base of the ovary, a single ovule is present at the base of the ovary. This condition is found in sunflower and marigold. So just to recall it once again, there are 5 types of placentation. Placentation means the arrangement of ovule inside the ovary, and it is of 5 types. Marginal, where placenta is present at the margins of the ovary forming a ridge, and ovules are born on the margin, generally in 2 rows. Example is P. The exile placentation, where ovules are born at the center and the ovary is multilocular, having various chambers, and at the center ovules are born. Example, tomato, lemon, China rose, etc. Third is parietal, where the ovules are born in the inner wall of ovary at the periphery. Example, mustard and cucumber. The fourth one is called free central, where again ovules are born in the center, but partition wall is not present there. So partition wall is not there. Example is primrose. And the last type of placentation is called basal, where a single ovule is found at the base of the ovary. Example, sunflower and marigold. So these are 5 types of placentation or 5 types of arrangement of ovules inside the ovary. The fruit. After fertilization, the ovary gets matured and develops into a fruit. So actually the fruit is the matured ovary after fertilization. The pollination takes place. After pollination, fertilization takes place, and after fertilization the ovary gets matured, and that matured ovary later on forms the fruit. The ovule present inside the ovary forms the seed of the fruit. Sometimes ovary develops as fruit without fertilization even. Such fruits are called parthenocarpic fruits. Those are called parthenocarps. The fruit, the real fruit, is always developed after fertilization from the matured ovary. But sometimes the ovary gets matured and develops as fruit without fertilization, and such fruits are called parthenocarpic fruits. Banana and grapes are the example of parthenocarpic fruits. The wall of the ovary develops as the fruit wall, the wall of the fruit, and this is called pericarp. The wall of the fruit is called pericarp. The pericarp may be differentiated into three parts. In some fruits, it may not be differentiated, especially in dry fruits. It is not differentiated in three parts, then it is called pericarp only. But in fleshy fruits, it is generally differentiable into three parts. The outer part is called epicarp. The middle part is called mesocarp, and the inner part is called the endocarp. In different fruits, different parts of pericarp may be edible. Like in mango, the epicarp is the outer covering or peel of the fruit. The middle layer or mesocarp is the edible fleshy part of the fruit, which is edible, and endocarp is the hard part present on the seed. Inside that, a woody seed is present. Likewise, in coconut, the epicarp is external brown part. Inside that, a very fibrous, some red brown part is found, which is the mesocarp, and finally the endocarp is present, and after that the seed is found. So pericarp can be divided into external epicarp, middle mesocarp, and internal endocarp. This differentiation is basically found in fleshy fruits such as mango and coconut. Fruits are developed from ovary. As in starting only we have discussed that matured ovary after fertilization develops as fruit. If it develops without fertilization, it is called parthenocarpic fruit. Sometimes the fruit is derived from some other part of the flower than the ovary. Sometimes ovary is not developed as the fruit, but some other part of flower develops as fruit. Sometimes along with ovary, or sometimes only other part develops as fruit, and such fruits are called false fruits or pseudocarps, because these are not fit in the definition of fruit. So these are called false fruit or pseudocarps. So false fruits are the fruits which are developed not from ovary but from any other part of the flower after fertilization. Apple is an example of false fruit, because apple develops from the thalamus. The edible part of apple that we usually eat is not the ovary, but it is the thalamus, and that's why apple is a false fruit. Now let's study in brief about types of fruit. Fruits are mainly of three types. Fruits can be divided in three types depending upon the gynoecium. Which type of gynoecium, which type of ovary was present in the flower which developed as fruit. On that basis, fruits can be divided into three types. The very first type of fruit is called simple fruit. The very first type of fruit is called simple fruit. Simple fruits are the fruits which develop from a single flower having a single gynoecium, or if more then one gynoecium are present, all those are fused together, means syncarpous. So it is developed from a single flower or syncarpous condition. Examples are mango and coconut. The second type of fruit is called aggregate fruit. Aggregate fruit. Aggregate fruits are the fruits which develop from polycarpellary and apocarpous flower, where more than one pistils are present and all those pistils are free. They are not fused together. So such flowers form the aggregate fruit. The example is strawberry. Strawberry is formed from apocarpous polycarpellary condition. The third type of fruit is called composite fruit. It is called composite fruit. Composite fruits are the fruits which develops not from a single flower but from the entire inflorescence. Means a single fruit that we see is not developed from a single flower, but it is the complete inflorescence, a bunch of flower together. Example, pineapple and jackfruit. So on that basis, fruits are of three types. Simple fruit, which develop from a single flower or a single carpel. Aggregate, which develops from many carpels fused together. And composite, where the fruit develops from the entire inflorescence. Example of simple fruit is mango, coconut. Example of aggregate fruit is strawberry. And example of composite fruit is pineapple and jackfruit. So students, now it is your assignment time. I have given you some questions. You will get all the answers in the video itself. So first watch the video carefully and then write down the answers of these questions. The very first question is, what do you mean by syncarpous and apocarpous condition of ovary? So here you have to write like difference between syncarpous ovary and apocarpous ovary. You can give examples also. In second question, you have to draw a carpel and name its part. So you will be drawing a carpel or a pistil and you will label its parts. The third question is, what is placentation? Explain its type. First, you will define what is placentation and then you will explain its types with characteristics, diagram and example. The fourth question, what is parthenocarpic fruit? Which fruits are called parthenocarpic and why? And you have to give example also. The fifth question is, why apple is considered as false fruit? So here you will tell about the characteristic of false fruit and then you will tell why apple is fit in that category. So write down the answer, students. Thank you.